If you combine the disturbing whimsy of the Disney metaverse with the addictive charm of a cozy game, you get
a brand new life simulation game filled with adventures, mysteries, and beloved Disney and Pixar friends.
Disney Dreamlight Valley. This game is incredibly popular. Since its official launch back in 2023, Dreamlight Valley has garnered over 3 million downloads. It has an active community of passionate fans, very positive reviews on Steam, and it even won PC Gamer's Early Access Game of the Year award back in 2022. This game has really captivated players who have found themselves fully immersed in this whimsical world where joy and happiness can be found in every corner. It's like taking a virtual trip to Disney World, but without all the lines and the family drama.
Chloe, we're going to Disneyland!
Was that just my family, or? Please stop fighting, we're making Minnie Mouse upset. Oh, she's... That's not... Okay. But when it comes to Dreamlight Valley, I think it goes without saying that this cozy farming life sim has been both a commercial and critical triumph. So what's the problem? You guys know I didn't bring you here to suck off this guy.
Oh boy.
Well, the issue is this game is a complete ripoff. I might even go so far as to say it's one of the most disgusting examples of corporate greed in video games that I've ever come across. And that's saying a lot because I cover The Sims.
It's just a roll of toilet paper.
So, the company behind this game has faced several lawsuits related to things like IP infringement, there's ongoing investigations related to violations of player privacy, and they've even been accused of marketing their games that are teeming with predatory microtransactions to children. But wait, just right there, I fear there's a horde of Disney adults coming this way. I've heard through the grapevine that this game's fans can be a little bit, or maybe a lot a bit scary, but truly my goal here, as with all of my videos, is not to make anyone angry or to yuck anyone's yum. It's to highlight how problematic and anti-consumer a lot of these companies are, and what Dreamlight Valley's publisher and developer have done is beyond gross. But just to be clear, I'm not saying the game itself is terrible or that you can't play it. So Disney Dreamlight Valley is developed and published by a company called Gameloft, which, fun fact, is also the world's largest mobile game publisher. Over the years, they've released smash hits like Dragon Mania Legend, March of Empires, and Dungeon Hunter 6. I didn't know there was a Dungeon Hunter 1 through 5. And like most mobile games, Gameloft's mobile titles are famous for their pay-to-win mechanics, gotcha systems, and excessive monetization. I've actually seen some confusion about this online. This game is not in any way associated with Disney the company. Besides licensing the IP and the names and likeness of the Disney characters, Disney did not play any role in funding or developing this game. So while Disney itself as a company can be quite unsavory, they're not responsible for the mess that is Dreamlight Valley. But there is another company that you may have heard of that is kind of associated with this game. Gameloft was founded by a Frenchman named Michael Guillemot. Forgive my pronunciation, I'm American, man. And that last name might sound familiar to you because the same guy also co-founded Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft doesn't have anything to do with the day-to-day operations of Gameloft. It's not a subsidiary of Ubisoft or anything like that, but the history is pretty interesting. However, Gameloft itself has faced numerous lawsuits over the years and has angered more than a handful of players by introducing things like paid battle passes to their game Disney Speedstorm and $60 microtransactions to their My Little Pony mobile game, both of which prompted discussions of class action lawsuits. In one article I read, a parent said that their child spent £420, that's like $550 on a mobile game, you guessed it, published by Gameloft. When you factor in Gameloft's own estimate that 39% of its global audience is under the age of 13, it really gives credence to this idea that Gameloft as a company is inherently predatory. So when you consider all of this, it's really no surprise that Gameloft's biggest game, Disney Dreamlight Valley, is literally begging players for money at every turn. So how bad is it? Well, let's start here with the game's early access launch. Prior to its official release, Gameloft promised players that when Dreamlight Valley left early access, it would be free to play. That was their plan all along, to have a free-to-play game with microtransactions. But seemingly out of nowhere, in a blog post just 2 months prior to the game's official release, Gameloft reneged on this promise, and they said Dreamlight Valley would be released on December 5th, 2023 as a fully priced $40 game.
Wait.
Wait, you said
But that's not all. In the same blog post, Gameloft announced the game would be getting an expansion, which cost an additional $30. Players had bought into this game's early access under the impression that the base game and any subsequent expansions would be free, because that is what Gameloft promised.
But they'll be going back on their promise about it being free to play.
Yet here they were doing a complete 180, selling a $40 base game, a $30 expansion, and there was even like a gold edition you could buy for $70. As you can imagine, this upset a lot of people.
They have decided to not become a free game.
Ooh, so there is no free to play come in.
It's just, God, do you know what I mean when I'm just like,
This is crazy. This is game changing, literally. Everyone's been complaining.
Gameloft really said, "Oh, you poor, unfortunate souls." Broken promises aside, some of you might be thinking, what's the big deal? It's a paid base game with some DLC here and there, right? Hell, Sims 4 players have spent $1,500 on 100 DLC. That's nothing compared to Dreamlight Valley. I mean, they are in a cult, but
pathetic.
On top of a paid base game and paid expansions, Dreamlight Valley also has an in-game currency and microtransactions. The currency has this very whimsical name. They're called Moonstones, and they're sold in bundles ranging from 1,200 Moonstones for $5 to 16,500 Moonstones for the low price of $55. So what can you do with these magical moonstones? Well, with enough of them, you can do anything your heart desires. Through the game's premium shop, you can purchase items like clothing and furniture. You can obtain exclusive rewards from events, unlock new quests, etc. Now about that premium shop, when they say it's premium, babes, Louis, Gucci, Prada step aside. These are luxury prices. Let's start on the lower end though. If you want to change Mickey's outfit, for instance, that costs 2,500 Moonstones, or about $10. You want to put Elsa in a different dress? That's another $10. Moana, you guessed it. There are over 26 Disney characters in this game, with some of them having 2 or 3 purchasable outfits. That's per character. When you add all of those up, it's literally several $100s worth of outfits just for NPCs. And of course, there's a variety of cosmetics you can purchase for your own character as well, like a pair of wings that cost $7, or an umbrella that costs $5. This game has pets too, but what were you thinking? Those aren't free.
Arriving in the premium shop this update is the Witchy Kitty Animal Companion.
You want a cute little Disney cat? That's $10. Do you want a bed for your cat to sleep in? In that case, it's actually going to be $15. How about a bed for your character and a matching lamp and a TV? That's going to be another $15. But if you spend $5 more, you can get a bundle of clocks. Who wouldn't want that? Okay. Do they actually tell time, or are they just for the aesthetics? Who cares? It's not real money anyway. Right? How about a gardening set that comes with 4 reskinned items?
So we'll just say this is an £18 set. That is absolutely ridiculous.
The way some of these items are priced, that alone is predatory as hell. To get this gardening set, you have to pay 3,750 Moonstones, which means you have to get the regular Moonstone pack for $10 to get 2,500 Moonstones. So now you need 1,250 more, right? But if you buy the cheapest Moonstone pack for $5, you'll be 50 Moonstones short. Gee, I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Yes, I do.
You're better off just spending $10 to get the larger Moonstone pack, and before you know it, you dropped $20 for a reskinned shovel. I'm sorry. I mean, can you tell Dreamlight Valley was made by a mobile game publisher? Some of the items in this game are locked behind bundles as well, which means if you want the version of Wall-E wearing a cute little suit, you have to buy the Dapper Wall-E Dream Bundle for $20. There's also entire houses you can buy in this game, but if you want the Hawaii home from Lilo and Stitch, you have to get the Island Getaway House Bundle, which also costs $20. There's even this house, which is locked behind a $55 bundle. You literally cannot get the house unless you spend $55. This should be illegal. Also, don't forget those expansions, babe. Dreamlight Valley has released 2 paid expansions for $30 each, and there's a third one coming in November. I think it goes without saying, they're really squeezing this player base hard.
I've spent like £100 on this game.
Gameloft's parent company Vivendi stated that in 2022, the year of of Dreamlight Valley's early access release, the game brought in nearly $60 million. I imagine that number has increased substantially since the game's official release and with its ever-increasing monetization. It's really fascinating to me as someone who covers other games like The Sims, because I see a lot of parallels between these two communities. For instance, in the Sims community, it's kind of taboo to talk about the bad stuff with the game. There's a really big toxic positivity problem that's very deep-rooted, and you don't really see the popular creators discussing the problems that affect the people, the consumers, and the players. And it's funny because in my research, I didn't really see a lot of the big creators talking about how bad the monetization is in Disney Dreamlight Valley. But I did find some smaller creators who were speaking up about this. Recently, a content creator in the Dreamlight Valley space made a video where they discussed whether the game was becoming pay to play.
If you're not spending, there's not usually a lot to do in the game.
In this video, they highlight several instances of excessive monetization, but it's what they said in this part that really stood out to me.
What really bothers me is the psychology behind how it's all being handled. It honestly feels like they're intentionally making the free content weaker and more repetitive just to nudge us towards spending.
It actually sounds like once you've completed the game's main storyline, you kinda have to spend money if you want more things to do, especially if you're someone who likes to spend your time decorating or styling the characters.
Decorating without the new house skins, pets, terrain tools, or build items can feel very repetitive.
By definition, Dreamlight Valley is pay to play. It literally costs money to play the base game. I think there's even an enhanced edition selling for $80 right now. But as this YouTuber says, in order to feel like you're actually getting your money's worth, you kinda have to keep paying. The way Gameloft has structured this game, it's kind of like they give players just enough, but if they really want to be satisfied with their playing experience, they have to keep forking over more and more money. A commenter on that video wrote the following: "I think I'm giving this game too much of my money. I may have to start closing my eyes every reset day because the prices are getting ridiculously high. I already have a lot of purchases that I don't or rarely use. I'm with you. It's not satisfying anymore because of the high premium shop prices." Here's what it boils down to, okay? A game has two options. You can either be a free-to-play game with microtransactions, or you can have a paid base game with some expansions. You have to choose one. You can't do both, bro. But with Dreamlight Valley, Gameloft decided to dip their grubby little rodent paws into both pots, and that is completely unacceptable. But allow me to speculate for a second. Dreamlight Valley, Infinity Nikki, The Sims. What do all these games have in common? Well, they're all hella expensive, and they're also super popular with female gamers. Is it a coincidence that games like these, games that are targeted at a female audience, are on the receiving end of such blatant consumer exploitation? Do the companies behind these games excessively monetize them because they believe the player base will just put up with it and not complain? Other gaming communities with more traditional player bases will literally boycott entire games if they feel like the monetization is too much. But games like Dreamlight Valley and Infinity Nikki and The Sims are not marketed to the hardcore gamers. They're marketed toward casual gamers, players that don't necessarily have much experience with games outside of these genres. And these are players that have historically been very willing to invest a lot of time and money into games they love. Is it a mere coincidence that many of these games that are geared toward a female audience are also some of the most predatory? For several years, I've witnessed cozy game communities and the life sim community be taken advantage of in a way that I don't think other gaming communities would ever allow. With Dreamlight Valley's new expansion coming in just a couple months, I don't foresee Gameloft pumping the brakes on these greedy practices anytime soon. So is it the lure of these high-priced cosmetics, or the appeal of this cutesy Disney universe, or maybe the FOMO perpetuated by this game's gacha-esque monetization that really makes Dreamlight Valley so appealing? I'm not really sure, but to me, Disney Dreamlight Valley seems less dreamy and more dreadful. Even though I don't play this game myself, I made this video because I hope to see more and more players speak up and voice their minds about how out of hand all this is getting. You know what else is getting out of hand? The fact that more than 70% of you watching are not subscribed. That's probably because I never tell anyone to subscribe, but... Wait, is that the Frozen soundtrack playing in the distance? I have to get out of here, the Disney adults. They're coming.